Last week, NYSE-listed companies Liberty Energy and Oklo announced a partnership that aims to accelerate integrated power solutions for large-scale, high-demand customers, think data centers and industrial facilities. Well, Liberty Energy CEO Ron Gusek told our Ashley Mastronardi what has him so excited about this latest initiative. Let's take a look.
Excited to be partnered with Oklo. It really is a pathway to being able to check a couple of boxes for the data center customers who are looking to put projects in the ground today. So really, as you think about it, they have a couple of priorities that they want to address. Number one, speed to market. You've heard the administration talk about this as the next Manhattan Project, a race that we have to win. And so there's a desire to get these data centers in the ground, up and running as quickly as possible. And then in parallel with that, a desire to ultimately transition to lower carbon intensity electricity. And so this partnership with Oklo allows us to do both. It allows us the opportunity to provide the end user a path to very quick and rapid deployment with natural gas-fired power generation. And then down the road, as Oklo comes online with their Aurora powerhouses, to deliver some amount of that electricity, that firm baseload capacity using nuclear. And then as we think about the future of those two things together, some real flexibility. We have that baseload firm capacity from the nuclear power plant, and then we have that gas power plant sitting on top of it. That allows us both the flexibility to adapt to the changing load that comes from a data center on a second-by-second basis, but also some flexibility when it comes to maybe drawing power off of the grid. So we might have those days, for example, where there's abundant wind and solar capacity available, power prices are much lower. We can ramp down the gas-fired power, draw that power off the grid. To the extent the inverse is true, to the extent that power prices are a little higher, maybe power's in high demand that day, we have the ability to ramp up that natural gas power supply to make sure that we're taking care of the data center's load, and also potentially selling some of that power back onto the grid to provide some additional capacity there.
And Ron, Liberty recently announced its second quarter earnings. You mentioned using your full range of completion services to better serve your customers. How is this approach performing so far? And what kind of impact, if any, are you seeing for this, for the business and for investors?
Yeah, obviously we're in a pretty challenging environment right now. Commodity prices have come down a little bit this year, and we're seeing activity onshore North America respond to that accordingly. Over the last quarter and certainly into the early part of this quarter, we've seen rig count come down. Completions activity, the world that we're involved in, certainly follows that. We lag a little bit, maybe a couple or 3 months before we'll feel that. But as that happens and we have additional capacity available, our customers end up having a choice. They are able to choose between provider A and B and C. They're looking for efficiencies at this point in time. They're looking for ways to improve their well economics, to drive down the cost of producing a barrel of oil or an MCF of gas. And we as a partner have the ability to aid them in that, particularly when we think about bringing a full suite of services to the table. As you think about a frac job, it requires a number of things that work seamlessly, hand in hand, for that to be executed well. The more of those we control, the more opportunity we have to drive efficiency through the operation and to lower that cost. And we believe that ultimately makes us a partner of choice. And I think that's proven out through our results in the second quarter. Despite a softening market, we had a real uptick in our activity levels, showing ourselves as a choice provider there. And that really drives for us ultimately a return on capital employed.
Ron, how does your company use AI to achieve its goals? And where do you see AI going in this industry in the next 10 years?
Oh, that's a big question. I think there are a tremendous number of opportunities for AI. We really have just started to scratch the surface there. Probably the early opportunities for us have primarily been around the operation of our equipment. We run a very, very large asset base out in the field, and we collect a tremendous amount of data from each and every one of those assets every day. I think something of order 1 billion data points every 24 hours or thereabouts. Managing the oversight of all of that data with a human, of course, is quite challenging. But when you layer some AI in there, some algorithms that help us to oversee the operation of our equipment, we're able to make tremendous strides around the longevity of components. So you can imagine a scenario now where a computer algorithm, AI, is able to detect a very, very small change in the performance of a piece of equipment, identify impending issue with that equipment before it becomes a major issue. That allows us to warn the field about that, to address what becomes a small maintenance issue instead of something much, much bigger. That drives uptime in our equipment. That drives efficiency for our customers. That drives reduced maintenance cost.
What is Liberty's perspective on energy poverty? And does the company have any initiatives that are aimed at underserved regions?
Our mission statement from the outset has been to better human lives. That starts with our employees, of course. We are focused on making sure that their lives get better by virtue of being part of Liberty. That expands to the communities that we live and work in, but ultimately to the broader global community. And so last year, at the start of 2024, we launched a foundation called the Bettering Human Lives Foundation. Our goal is by 2030 to convert 1 million homes and 1,000 schools in sub-Saharan Africa from cooking and heating over wood burning fires to an LPG stove. Literally life-changing overnight. You can imagine if you're an avid camper, you spend time over a campfire, you know what that's like, spending time around that smoke. For many people, that is their day-to-day life. That's the life they live in every day. That's what their children are exposed to as they are growing up inside the hut. We think that this is a real opportunity to dramatically transform people's lives. And so we're hard at work on that mission, working closely with entrepreneurs on the ground to expand access to clean burning LPG, both the gas itself and the cook stove itself, and making that affordable for people to transition over to that.